I'd like to welcome everyone to the conversation where we talk about everything Cowboys. My favorite team, your favorite team, America's team. Here with your host, Coach Marv.
Hey, how y'all doing, everybody? How y'all doing, everybody? Everybody in Cowboy land, we are here on a Saturday. We're getting close to training camp. Oh, shit. Fucking up. Get back. Everybody got it off. What am I talking about? I'm sorry about that, man. How everybody's doing, man, in Cowboy land. I'm glad y'all came in with me, man. We got a great show today for you. A great show, man. What I call this show today is Confirmation Saturday. Man, if you come into the building, man, if you're not seeing some of the other guys that are doing shows, but I got a great show for you today, man. Confirmation Saturday, I'm not one of the ones that go around looking at a lot of interviews. I do a lot of research somewhat. I hope I don't get in trouble today because I don't know what the copyright things. Hopefully it's not a copyright infringement. I'm gonna try to play certain little sections of this video. Maybe may not get no monetization on it, but I'm gonna play a little bit of some of this video from the Brian Broaddus show. I think it's called the platform that Brian Broaddus and Vosh they're on. They do some great things with their show. Um, they had an interview. Brian Broaddus had an interview with the great Nate Newton. I don't know when it was. And it was a great interview because it talked about the Cowboys culture, and that interview was on the Crown Global Media. I'm going to do a clip of the Crown Global Media of the Nate Newton interview with Brian Broaddus. We're going to look at some of this, and we're going to talk about some of the culture that we're talking about the Cowboys need. You're going to talk about some of the cultural things, and then he's going to talk about some of the things that that I have been talking about. And this is the first time I've seen this interview. And what made it so great when I saw this interview, I said, well, wow, this would be a great interview to show that Coach Marv was just not just talking about stuff to just be talking about. We're gonna talk. We're gonna touch on some things about what we need to do in training camp. We're gonna talk about some of the things that we talked about, the type of players that we're starting to see, the type of players that you need to win with. We're gonna talk about some of. He talks about some of the unity that I'll talk about. That's more important than we talk about players, but getting the right fit of guys and guys being invested in each other. You're also gonna talk about the small things of just getting things accomplished and working and getting better. And we'll also talk about something that we're going to have that I stressed in the last couple of last couple of shows is I don't want to talk about Super Bowl. I want to talk about winning this division first. And I want to talk about working hard, whatever the rules are, making sure that your team toes the line in getting ready for the season. All these are things that touched on it. And I'm gonna try to do this. And I'm not that very technical person. If I had a producer to pop up, but I'm going to go back. So we want to make sure that y'all can maybe see. So I'm gonna need y'all help on this. When I share these videos and they start playing, I want y'all to let me know. Can y'all see and hear it? And we're gonna play little segments. And we're gonna go back, and I'm gonna have to go back and go to different segments here and there, so we can pick up those things. I didn't clip those, but I know what minutes we're gonna go to. And but first off, we're gonna talk about when Nate Newton was asked about what he thought about this upcoming team, and then he talked about what Schottenheimer was trying to build and what he was trying to get rid of in his culture in Dallas. So let's talk about some of these things and listen to me as I share this. Now, I hope I can share the screens the right way. I hope it pulls up for me to share. Bear with me, y'all.
And got rid of guys that don't love football first.
Right.
Team guys and guys that may understand the game of football. I think what Coach Schottenheimer has done is he's went out and got rid of guys that don't love football first.
Right.
What I see, Brian, is for the first time, and people may not agree with me, what I see for the first time is ownership that's connected to the coaching staff. We have not had it where it seems like the coach is leading the deal and ownership is giving him the things that he needs. And now players are not running the ship. The coaches are running the ship and putting it in place. And that right there gives you an opportunity to be where we were.
You know, you guys were the teams, and I know competing against you when I was in Green Bay, and I just admired how well you guys were built, different characters, different guys. But when you guys played, you guys really did love football. But more importantly, I think you liked playing with each other.
Yes. I mean, you have to have some unity. You have to have some bonding. Just as a quick story, I used to have a birthday party for my oldest boy, Trey. It was named after his pop, my granddad. But I say pop, that's my dad, Nathaniel Newton, Sr. And I started this party at my house, inviting a few players. And within 2 to 3 years, Mr. Jones would come, Troy would come, all of the administrators would come, coaches would come. It turned out to be a deal where I had to set up at a park a couple of years, man, where it's 200 and 300 people. This is the unity that we built. And now the only person that didn't come was Coach Johnson.
Yeah.
You're the only guy that didn't come, but everybody else came.
Yeah.
This is a great thing right here where he talks about a lot of unity. He opened up with what I said when we were talking about the culture build, about what we were talking about with this defense, what we were trying to do with the draft picks, drafting guys that are smart. He's going to go into a little bit more when we start talking about, when he started talking about some of his players that he played with, like Larry Allen and my frat brother, Eric Williams, about not just their toughness, but they were smart players. Again, I said a long time ago, we could talk about X's and O's. We could talk about, you can't win with three things, two things you can't not win with. You cannot win no big time team sport in football without unity and team play. And you can't win when you got a multitude of guys that are not high football IQ guys. Let me say that again. You could talk about all you want, but the first thing a coach needs is, one, he needs to build continuity and unity because you're in the greatest team sport ever. You need continuity and unity, and you need to have smart, intelligent guys, high IQ football guys. I ain't talking about they got to be rocket scientists and lawyers and doctors and scientists. But when it comes to football, they got to be able to study and to be able to present themselves in a way that you can make things much easier for your teammates and yourself. Not cutting corners, but being smart at your task. And one thing he said Schottenheimer is trying to get rid of, guys that don't love football. If you love football, if you get guys that love football, 9 times out of 10, they're high IQ guys, football IQ guys, because they're students of the game. Now, if you got a lot of guys on your team that looking for media clicks and the stardom that comes with football and being in the spotlight or just worried about getting contracts, you may have a lot of talent on your team, but you're going to get beat because again, as I always say, this is always known. As the levels of footplay you go up, the difference between the all-star and the guy that's just a player is very small. Most times it's mental. So that's what when I said Nate talked about in that case about getting guys that are smart. And Schottenheimer did a great job of they're starting to get a better culture of smart players. Because remember, this is his second year. Even though he was a coach the year before, he started to inherit what they was doing. So that's a great point. And he also made a point about the coaching staff and the ownership being in line. I don't care what y'all say this offseason. And I think some of y'all are saying, well, they didn't get this guy, they didn't get this guy. I can guarantee you, I'm not going to say guarantee, but I really believe in my heart of hearts that everything that this team said that they wanted, it was been a serious conversation. And if they needed to equip themselves with it, or that they felt that they could do just as good without it, and they're going to be able to coach this situation, and they felt good, I think the Joneses supplied that. I don't think that this organization is going and saying, we need a linebacker. We need a Bobby Wagner. We need a Jordan. We need a Max Crosby. I don't think that they would have not had that, but I believe this was a conversation that says, do you feel good about the guys you got? Because if you say you don't feel good about them, then we got to get somebody. I can't go if you say, well, I don't know. Because you don't know and you don't feel good about them, then we got to go get somebody. But if you're going to feel good about it, I got to trust you because I hired you. So let's think about that in that terms. I know a lot of people are not going to agree with that, but I've seen a lot of leeway with this. Let's go on. Let's see if we get see some more.
Relationship as a player with Jerry Jones, and how did you? I mean, there's people,
right.
But was that something that you guys? Man, you guys took so much pride in how you played, but Troy kind of loses his mind a little bit. How did you take those things?
This is
let me
of your teammate, or you would just react to the up to win one. And these are pictures of your past.
Okay.
And I want you to take me through the thoughts when you of your teammate, or you would just react to the pictures.
Okay.
Just react. Okay.
Okay. If I can,
the first picture I'm going to show. Let me get on camera here. Let me show the picture that we got. This one right here. Okay. When I show you this picture, what do you think?
Triplets. I think triplets. I think great players. More importantly, I think the heart of our team. When you see those three guys right there, that's what we were all about, Brian. These guys here in their own special way were leaders. And so great guys.
When you think about them as teammates, when you think about them, and there's some NFL films, sideline shots, where you guys are all sucking up oxygen on the bench and stuff, and Troy is just losing his mind.
Right.
But was that something that you guys took so much pride in how you played, but Troy kind of loses his mind a little bit? How did you take those things?
This is what I want to tell. Listen to this.
Yes.
Listen to me. I remember a game, and you can tell me the exact amount of sacks. It was against Philadelphia.
It was like 7, maybe more than that.
12, 11 to 12 sacks.
Yeah.
I don't know how many hits.
I remember that.
Troy never, ever said anything about that. I mean, he took a beating. Mm-hmm. He never said one word. What would get Troy and what would make him his hottest, and he would speak to you, jump off sides.
Yeah.
Blow a play mentally. He would come unglued. Physically, he understood that you may get beat, but it was no excuse to get beat mentally. Yeah. Or jump offside and do something that hurt the team. Now, he would come unglued about something like that.
Yeah. What about when you were blocking for Emmitt Smith?
Great point here. He made a great point here with that. The great point was there again. As a coach, I know a lot of y'all think just because you got a player that's your player that he never loses a battle. When you play against other good players, you're going to lose some physical battles. You're not going to always win every physical battle. But you're expected to never lose mentally. Let me say that again. You're going to lose physical battles. There's going to be a guy that, if you're a cornerback, there's going to be a guy that's going to run a pattern and beat you. If you're a receiver, there's going to be times you're going to run a pattern and they're going to be able to guard you. The great C.D. Lamb, the great Pickens can get guarded. If you're offensive lineman, the great Aaron Donald will lose a battle. A lot of battles. He's not going to lose. He's not going to dominate everything. The greatest offensive lineman going to get beat. A quarterback is going to miss a pass. A running back is going to miss a hole. There's going to be some physical things that you're going to lose. Now, the greatest of the greats are more consistent and they win most of those battles, but you're going to lose some battles as a unit, as a team. But what Troy was saying is that we cannot beat ourselves. We have to allow the other team to beat us. And if you go back to our team last year, how many times we got into the red zone and we got penalties? There was a couple of games we got inside the 10-yard line and had to jump off sides, or a holding call, or a legal motion play. that killed us that make us get a field goal. These are the type of things that we have to tighten up and we have to practice like that. Those are the type of mistakes we cannot allow. That takes, again, where we go back what I was saying before. You only going to get that type of thing with what type of players? High IQ football players. And Nate didn't talk about this in this video, but I remember a story when Troy used to get on players, for jumping off sides and stuff like that. And when Charles Haley came there, some of the players got upset talking about Troy was just getting on players. And you know who came to Troy Aikman defense and got on players and solidified what Troy was saying? It wasn't an offensive player. It was Charles Haley saying he need to get on y'all ass. Because it's his job to have y'all straight. That speaks volumes when you have somebody from the other unit saying, hey, this is what he expects. And we should expect non-mental mistakes. Because those little things is going to make our talent shine. Great point by Nate in that part. And we're going to hear him talk about Moose Johnson. And he's going to talk about Moose Johnson. He's going to talk about some of the other players that he had. And I want you to listen to when he talks about these guys, what did he always keep saying when he keep talking about Emmett and Moose Johnson when he's talking about these guys? What word does he keep saying?
Run.
Yeah.
He looked at me and said, you just block, you fat, da, 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 da.
Yeah.
And that's what, okay, I'm going to try it from a different angle.
Said,
well, when I'm blocking,
Emmett,
what do you see?
Right.
He said, I see color.
Yeah.
He said, I see color and I see light. And I always run to light.
Right.
And so I said, okay. So certain plays, like the draw plays, you had to hold the block a little longer.
Right.
The outside plays, you can just take them and run them.
Sure.
This is before we had zone. We call it stretch.
Right.
But everybody call it inside-outside zone now.
Right.
So we just, whatever. And what we relied on is for Darryl Johnson to lead him to that light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moose had such a feel for that, didn't he?
Yes.
Moose was able to read blocks, and then Emmett, sometimes fullbacks get in the way.
Yes,
like they hesitate,
right.
and then all of a sudden it makes the backs cut a little
yeah.
more difficult to deal with. But Moose knew how to fit with the block and then take Emmett to where he needed to go.
Definitely, man. Darryl Johnson was unique, ultra smart.
Well, heard what he said there? Unique and ultra smart. Before he starts talking about how fast he was, how physical he was, the first characteristic he had was that he was a student of the game and he understood what you're trying to do, where you're trying to go. In that way, he can lead better. Again, yes, you need guys that got speed and size and strength. That's important. I'm not discrediting that. I'll be a fool to say I discredit that. But if the first characteristic you need to have, you got to have high football IQ. And this is where I think in some years we have been lacking. Because I think in some years we have been at Dallas, and I think we're changing a lot. But and I like the makeup of this team here. But in some years, we had people that were worried about their brand and just being in Dallas than football guys. And I ain't calling them names. They don't need to call them names. But I'm talking about overall. And I'm not even talking about the stars. Because you need really football guys that guys are not the stars. The guys you really need to be football guys is the guys in your second and third unit. Oh, I just touched a chord here. See, if you get football guys that in the second and third unit, and then you get leaders, those guys are football guys, they listen. The smarter you are down the line in your football team, the better you are. If you're top heavy with football IQ, and then you got a bunch of players down the bottom that don't care nothing about football, don't care nothing about, there's not high football IQ, They just out there trying to make a check and have a star on the helmet. You're gonna need everybody. This is why you can't individualize football and say, oh, it's the quarterback fault, or it's the running back fault. It's the greatest team sport in sports. You can have guys at the bottom make the top people not successful. It's just like when you go to a plant. Y'all can talk about the executives all you want, but in a plant, if your production line is horrible, they don't put our production like they're supposed to be, you can get general managers fired. And people say it's the general manager's fault. But you got to have the bottom level. Let's keep on listening.
Kid from Syracuse. I wrote the great 44 number or something, whatever number they wrote there. Hey, we had some intelligent dudes on our team, and Darryl Johnson was one of the top of them.
What did he say there? What did he say there in the chat? He said we had some very intelligent dudes on team. Now we had some wild guys. They're not talking about it was some intelligent guys, smart guys that was unique smart, but they had a lot of guys on their team that were high football IQ guys. I remember Nate. If Nate doesn't talk about this, Nate wasn't the highest football IQ guy himself, coming in from Florida A&M. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but he surrounded himself with the Step Nazis, the Tuanays. And then when Haley came there and Haley got him into that working out during the season to get better, all those were things that pushed him to another level. Pushed him to another level that made him a more of a football type guy. I mean, a football high IQ guy. So again, these are the things of structure, and these are the things I want y'all to look at when y'all watching our team. These are the things I want you to hear in your interviews. When you're hearing guys in interviews, if they start talking about team unity, if they start by talking about that we got to be smart, or they start talking about playing together, all these type of things, or fitting in, doing your job, then you'll know, you can feel it. Then you'll start seeing the culture is going in the right way. And yes, Nate Newton loved playing ball, but he got around guys that gave him the other thing. And that's what I'm talking about, that culture. Remember this. In a football atmosphere, you got qualities and your teammates got qualities. You merge those qualities together, that's what builds a team. Everybody's not the same on a football team. But if you get guys that are willing to merge their talents together, you got something, man. You have got something it's golden.
Reggie White feared playing Eric Williams. I've never seen Reggie White.
Talk about this. Let me stop right here. He's been talking about my frat brother, and I think Eric Williams is going through some health stuff. I'm a member of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity. Eric Williams, he's going to talk about two guys here. We're going to talk about Eric Williams, who came out of Central State. NIA school, black college in Central State, Central Ohio. Eric Williams. They drafted, I think, the third, fourth round. And then he's going to talk about the greatest lineman that he feels is all time in the Dallas Cowboys, the late, great Larry Allen, who was drafted out of Samoa State, another small school. Two great, and Nate Newton came from Florida A&M. So this is what I say when we talk about guys, when I hear guys out there, and Tuane, they don't talk about Tuane, but Tuane was the left tackle, and he used to be a defensive lineman, and Mark Steph Nicely wasn't but a $105, and I think he was out of a big school, but he wasn't. This is what I keep trying to tell guys when they talk about we need big names. Ohio State, Notre Dame, big time name guys, or guys that in the first round they can't play. We can't get there's a guy that we need to draft a guy because the guy there, man, we need to go get a free agent. We need to go get a veteran guy. These guys made their names. When they got there, nobody claimed they were going to be Hall of Famers or stars. They made their names. They got an opportunity. The opportunity didn't go away. And they seized their opportunity and made their names. This is why I don't get into this thing about, well, we need to go get this guy. We need to go get that guy. If I see talent in a guy, I know they can make a name. So he's going to talk about two guys. There's one guy who's from Florida A&M who was cut. Nate Newton was drafted, cut by a team, and picked up by the Cowboys. A Samoa State guy that was drafted in the third and fourth round with a shoulder injury, Larry Allen, and Eric Williams, who was drafted, I think, the third, fourth round out of Central State. Dominant lineman.
Upset when we would play Dallas.
Yes.
And it wasn't because of Mark Tuinei or he hated Eric Williams.
Yes.
What made Eric Williams so good?
His ability to irritate, along with his great athletic skills. When you don't mind jabbing a dude in the face.
He would punch. Reggie White would say, Eric Williams is going to poke me in the eye with his thumbs. He had those wrapped up hands. And he would punch Reggie in the stomach and in the lower stomach. He'd poke him in the eye. Reggie, seriously, we're sitting at Candlestick Park, and I walk by him, and we just beaten 49ers in the playoffs, and he's taking the tape off his gloves, and I go, Rev, what's up? He goes, Eric Williams. Did Eric Williams play everybody like that?
Yes. With Reggie, he still had great respect and reverence for Reggie for his ability, because Reggie could take over a game at any time, but it was his greatest challenge.
Yeah.
And can I tell a quick story?
Oh, you tell. Hey, man.
I remember when we was watching film, and he would just watch film hours and hours.
This is Eric watching film.
Of watching Reggie.
Stop right here. Stop right there. What did he say about Eric Williams? Eric Williams came from Central State. Some people will say, oh, you got to come from Ohio State or Notre Dame or Alabama to be a film guy. Some of y'all will say, oh, well, a guy like you can't come from Central State and be a film guy and study film and be a student of the game. You got to come from Ohio State. You got to come from Miami. You got to come from the big schools for you to be a film guy. He came from Central State, and he said he used to watch film over and over and over again to get the basics of trying to learn his technique. Again, Eric Williams didn't start his first year. See, when y'all talk about number 71, that he ain't gonna be good, we need to go get a veteran guy. When y'all start talking about we all on my man Tyler Guyton, and we talk about, and we see some of the nastiness in Titan Guyton, and we killing Titan Guyton, talking about, oh, this and that. He didn't even start his first year. But his second year, Jimmy said, this is going to be our right tackle. It took him a time to get his stuff together, but he had the salt. See, that's why, man, I don't get into that type of stuff when people talk about it. Because it's not just the Cowboys. I have seen this in all kinds of football teams. But the cavalier thing for the, quote, talk shows, it's easy to talk about going and get another guy, going and get a top draft guy. But this guy loved football, and he put his work in to being a student of the game. And watch what being a student of the game helped him figure out Reggie White.
And then one day his eyes lit up and he said, I got it. we're like, what do you have?
Yeah.
He said, man, I got the key to that toss.
The hump move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he would drop 1, 2, 3, and he would be in sync with Reggie.
Right.
But when Reggie went to hump him, he would just headbutt either his shoulder or the side of his head.
Right.
And that would throw Reggie off. Yeah. And when he said he had it, believe me, but Eric changed it. We were big guys, but we were not physical.
Yeah.
And Eric would challenge each one of us. Where's your physicality? And he would call you all type of names. He's a deacon of the church now.
Right. Oh, no. Yeah.
But he would call you all type of names back then.
Yeah.
If you didn't get physical with guys.
Right.
And finish. Yeah.
That is amazing because like I remember vividly, Reggie, I never saw Reggie fear playing anybody.
Nah.
He hated Eric Williams. When we come to Dallas, he was a different player.
Yes, he was.
All right. I got another picture for you.
Okay.
Here we go. We'll turn this one around. That guy.
Top 5. He's in Mount Rushmore of offensive line. Larry Allen, I've never seen nothing like.
Larry Allen, top 5 of his Mount Rushmore. Look what he says about Larry Allen.
Got his hand on this guy and ran him past the quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't know who I was standing to. I said, hey, man, I think I better get in shape because this dude going to take somebody's job. It's not going to be mine. And somebody hit him a body swat. They took him upfield and hit him a body swat. He went forward. And was on one leg. And I like, oh, they got it. He popped back so quick and got his hand on this guy and ran him past the quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't know who I was standing to. I said, hey, man, I think I better get in shape because this dude going to take somebody's job. It's not going to be mine. I mean, and from that day on, you just knew and you feared, like, it's no way you was going to keep him off the field.
Sure.
And his next year, he was starting.
Again, let me say this again. Like I said about Eric Williams. What did he say that was it's a couple of things. One day it was smart. Did the great Larry Allen start his rookie year? He just told you no. Eric Williams, did he start his first year? No. Nate Newton, did he start his first year? No. He was cut and was brought into Dallas. So when we start looking at football players, and it's amazing to me. And this is what I'm trying to understand. And this is not talking bad about anybody. It's amazing to me that we have seen over and over when the game was, we're asking guys to say, well, we need you to play right now and be good right now. But then when we get younger players and we want to go with younger players, we say, no, we need to get veterans guys that played a little while. I don't understand it. Boy, we said, okay, you got to be a star right now. These guys are not going to be stars right now. But this time, Tyler Guyton is now in his 3rd year, a whole year playing football. He didn't even get a whole year playing his rookie year. Number 71, a whole year playing football. Your Tyler, your left guard, who was a rookie year, had a whole year. He's going to be better. BB, from his first full year, he's going to be better. Tyler Smith is going to be better because he's going his bigger, longer year, as well as Terrence Steele. Now you got guys that's going into extended service. TJ Bass going to be better. These are the positive things that y'all should be thinking about. These are what we call the intangible things. When I had a show called Intangible, these are what we call non-physical things that are beneficial and give you a competitive advantage. Let's go
on. The great linemen for the New England Patriots have gotten anything on him. Larry, you talking about 2 guys, and I kept bringing it. You talking about guys only thought one word: domination. That's all they believed in, and that's what they lived for, was to dominate you. To Hudson Hawk was kind of getting on it.
Yeah.
And
HUD coach Munoz. Yeah. USC. Yeah.
So here, he's talking about what he's talking about now when Larry Allen missed the block and the emotion that was with Larry Allen that Larry Allen showed This is where you talk about guys that are football guys. When you get football guys, they take it very seriously. They don't make them no nerds. They take it very seriously when they.
I'm sitting up there. Larry's not saying a word.
Yeah.
I mean, he normally would grunt or laugh or say something, or I'll get him, just wait till next time.
Yeah.
But man, I look back there, tears running down his eyes. He was hurt that this guy got a sack. He felt this guy should never, ever have gotten anything on him. Larry, you talking about two guys, and I kept bringing it big. You talking about guys only thought one word: domination. That's all they believed in, and that's what they lived for, was to dominate you, to break you. So when they played you again, you would by the third quarter, it was game over.
Yeah,
game over.
Did Larry Allen make that entire line? Because you had, I mean, with you and Tune and even Stepnowski. I mean, Mark is so undersized, but you, Mammoth, Larry, Mammoth.
Right.
But Mark was so athletic.
Yes,
but how did
smart.
Did Larry help Mark, or did Mark help Larry with the ability to cut defenses in half and stuff?
Let me tell you something. Eric changed the attitude of how we played. Eric Williams changed the attitude of how we played. Larry was just a different level, brother.
Yeah.
He just, for you to look at Larry, you would say, that's who I want to be, knowing you ain't gonna never reach it.
Yeah.
Knowing you ain't gonna never reach it. When Step, I almost cried. I wanted to tell him, give Step half of my check, because this is who me and him had signals. I never had to watch film.
Yeah.
I just lay back, chill.
Yeah.
Because Step was taking care of everything.
So Step was, he was communicating.
See, there you go. Again, man, that's what teammates do, man. I've been on teams and played on teams and coach. When I played offensive line, I was a student of the game. I could tell, and I played all the way up and down the offensive line. But I knew what everybody on the offensive line, I knew what everybody on the offense supposed to have done on every play. So my teammates depended on me, if the defense changed, for me to make the calls. This is what teammates do, man. They help each other out. This is what you call unity, man. And there was again when I had a show about tone setters. You need type of tone setters. Let's go on to this minute mark, and let's see what they're gonna talk about. I think I got another minute mark. We're gonna start talking about some of the other stuff that I think that's very crucial.
Those practices.
St. Ed, man. It was,
down in Austin, Texas.
Yes.
A practice you guys had at St. Ed's.
Yes.
Now we're gonna talk about he's gonna talk about something that, Coach Marv is, I talk about a lot. I know y'all get tired of Coach Marv with this commentary, but I talk about this a lot. It's one of the things that's near and dear to my heart when you talk about the Cowboys and what I think about what we need to do to be better. I understand things are different now. Things are not the same in training camp. There's a new collective bargaining agreement. Everybody's under the same rules now, based on how they have to train. But there are teams that toe the line to making their training camps harder and strenuous. Some of those teams are like the 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. I feel that in the distraction area of the Cowboys, the only way with all the distractions we got, I think sometimes we got to minimize the distractions to get our team focused, and we got to understand something else. This is not tooting my team, pat myself on the back and toot my own team's horn. We're gonna get, as Cowboys, we Cowboy fans, we should know we're gonna get everybody's Super Bowl game, because guess what? We're the biggest stage every Sunday. So we have to be better prepared than others. I don't think some people say, yes. So we got to have that stress point. And remember I said something? A coach needs to be able to turn up the temperature on his team to understand what's the balling point to his team, what's the stress level to his team. Because then you'll know when you need to call timeout. You'll know when you need to slow things down because you know the stress level of your team. Now, Nate is going to talk about how they used to do it, and he's going to mention something that Schottenheimer said that was very pivotal about my philosophy of those who bleed, and no pundits about the people in the war. I'm not talking bad about the people in the war. I understand I am sensitive about us being in a war when I use a war reference. But he's going to talk about what I've always talked about, my slogan of those who sweat more in peace bleed less in war. Those who sweat more in peace bleed less in war. And when he talked about what Jimmy said and how he wants to pair, it fits what I'm saying about sweating more in peace. You're going to bleed less in war. Let's take a listen to what he said when he's talking about training camp.
In Austin. Now, I never saw the practice against the Raiders, which was just a bloodbath practice. Yes. They can't practice players like that today, can they?
No.
And walk our audience through a little bit of what. And you're a big man surviving those practices.
St. Ed, man.
Down in Austin, Texas.
Yes. First of all, back then you had to be
real two-a-days.
Yeah. We opened up. Our first practice was inside run.
Yeah.
You know, we ran out on the field. We stretched. We did 10 minutes of individual and went straight 7 on 9 or whatever, inside run.
Inside run.
And it was 15 plays, and the starters was taking 7 of them.
Right.
7 to 8 of them.
Yeah, you weren't rolling in there with backup dudes like we see today.
Right.
Backup dudes are not yet.
The only person that did not do the inside runs was Emmett.
Okay.
Troy would be handing the ball off, depending on what Norv wanted to do. Yeah. And we would be going at it, man. We would be going at it. And I mean, we got all the fingers taped. We got the elbow pads on. I mean, it was like, man. And after we got through, after them first 2 or 3 days, like a grenade just ain't hit the whole locker room.
Yeah.
Because everybody got nicks, bruises. But that is the way we did it. I think now the way these people practice, I like the idea of one aspect of this is now all 32 has to do it.
Right.
Whereas Jimmy would do us like this, and the Giants would practice hard, but the 49ers.
And we learned that at Green Bay.
Yeah.
We got the 49er when we got Holmgren. Bill Walsh was different than the way they practiced.
Yes.
So we never practiced like you guys did. Never did.
But what I've always told people, and I'm gonna jump a little ahead to Coach Schottenheimer, you heard him say just as he was closing remarks going into his last week, is I'm gonna move some of our practices to harder practice.
Yeah.
What did he just say that Schottenheimer said? What have I been telling y'all in my cultural, when I talked about the cultural aspect? Remember I was talking to y'all about my show that I did about year 2 of the coaching bill, and I said as a second year head coach, I said Schottenheimer is going to start to grow as a coach, and he's going to find out that there's some things that he did last year as being the head man. You could be a assistant coach for a long time, but being the head man, and now the team is taking the shape of his vision. That there's some things that he learned from last year. First, he talked about, not being involved with the defense as much as he should have been to make sure that some of his suggestions were heard and not let things get out of hand. Now he's making a suggestion that he says he wants to make some of his practices harder. What he's learned from last year is that his team could have been better. They was not seasoned enough to be prepared for the season. See, I got a lot of people out here talking about bubble wrapping guys. If you want to win a Super Bowl, you can't bubble wrap guys. You got to be careful, but you can't bubble wrap nobody. You're not in the point of knowing how to climb that mountain yet. And listen, man, You'll never know how to run a marathon until you run that marathon and feel that last 8 to 9 miles of a marathon and how that feels. Once you do it that first time and accomplish it, then you'll know how to pace yourself a lot more. You'll feel that pressure of that agony your body goes to. And each time you do it, it doesn't make it totally not easier, but your body has to know what is to expect. This team has not, none of these guys, this team had been to the NFC championship game in 30 damn years. None of them deserve to be bubble wrapped because we haven't made it there. We got to go to the grind, baby. And if the injuries come, they're going to come. But watch what he said, what Jimmy said, and the reason why some other teams didn't come because they don't get the pressure that we get every game against everybody. If you're getting this, please, if you're in the chat, if you're in the chat, you're watching this video, please give me a thumbs up and tell me everything is still going good. You're still getting the video good well. And let me know how you're liking it. Please hit like and comment and subscribe. Please hit like on this video. You only get this from Coach Marv, confirmation of the culture of what we talked about this off season. Watch what Jimmy said.
Because one thing Jimmy told us, and just remember this, one thing Jimmy told us, he said, one thing I'm not going to have happen is we go into a game against the 49ers or Green Bay or Philadelphia, and we've been practicing right here, and we got to go to a game and get here. You know, no. We're going to practice right here. So this jump is less than a couple of inches. And so that's why he always felt that we had to practice. And I'm gonna tell you the story. We was doing a deal where you grill the coach. And we had it for Jimmy. It was a grill down in his hometown. And I can't think of
it. Down at Beaumont?
Yeah, down at
Beaumont. Yeah.
And so he had Philadelphia coach. What is it?
Buddy Ryan?
Buddy Ryan. He had Buddy Ryan there.
He got his big fat ass off the field.
And so, but this is what made me laugh, is they sitting there just frankly talking like, well, Jimmy, I saw how you were building your team, and you started taking over the league. And so I went out and started building my team opposite of to stop you. And Jimmy said, well, I had to start by trying to stop you.
Wait a minute. Did y'all just hear what I just heard? Chat. Did y'all just hear what I heard? Let me go over a couple of things that I just heard in this show. Let me go over a couple of things that was just pivotal what he just said. One thing that Jimmy said, he wanted to make sure that when we got to these type of these games, that we could take it to that level because we were already practicing at that type of level because that's what it would take to get there. Not the weight. And guess what? I got reports from people inside the locker room last year that said that they wasn't ready. The defense was not ready physically for the first 3 quarters for the 49er game, for the Eagles game. Yes. Inside the locker room for a player. With this tough schedule, you can't go into this season saying, oh, we're going to try to get ready. We're going to bubble wrap guys. Well, let's keep them good, We don't need to we can't have no injuries. Then the next thing that was very important that I heard, and this goes to confirmation what I've been talking about with San Francisco and Kansas City the whole time. They say he had the roast for Jimmy and he had Buddy Ryan there. And Buddy Ryan said, I saw how you was preparing your players, your team, and y'all start winning. And what I started to do is prepare my team the same way because we had to match your energy to compete with you. And Jimmy said we prepared our way but first because we had to match your energy to compete with you when we first got there. Haven't I said on show after show and on Twitter, if the Kansas City Chiefs, who've been in 6 Super Bowls or 5 Super Bowls in the last 7 years, and have won 3 Super Bowls in the last year, wherever they practice how they practice, that's how I'm going to practice. If the most consistent team in the NFL is doing it a certain way, in a certain mentality, if I'm not doing it in that type of way, how do I ever think I'm going to get to their level? That's not, that's common sense. They doing it a certain way for the last 10 years. It's been ultimate, but Patrick Mahomes have played a quarter in every preseason year, every year in preseason, a whole quarter, the whole starters have played a whole quarter for every year in this Super Bowl run where they won 3 Super Bowls and lost. They've been Super Bowl 5 times in the last 7 years. And for some unknown reason, somebody say, oh, no, we ain't going to do it that way. No, we can't. No, we can't. We can't afford to get nobody hurt. Let me show you. Teams copycat, great organizations.
You first.
Right.
And so I'm thinking, win the division.
Yeah.
Who is the top dog in your division?
Right.
Stop right here. Now we're going to try to talk about something else that I talked about my last show. If you follow Coach Marv and you went to my last show, and not the last show where I talked about competitive. The last show I did 3 days ago, I talked about, I don't want to talk about the Super Bowl. Yes, the Super Bowl is the ultimate goal, but our goal is to win the best division in football. I keep preaching this, and nobody's talking about this because a lot of people don't understand that. If you win this division, in this division, the team that wins this division is always a very big contender for winning the Super Bowl or getting to the NFC Championship game. Because that's how much this division is giving credit to the NFL. The greatest division in the NFL is the NFC East. And if you're going to have the best division in this, if you're going to win this division, look 9 times out of 10. I ain't going to say it all the time, but most times, the team that got the best defense and the most quality running game wins this division. And if you win this division has played in more NFC Championship games, has won more Super Bowls, has played in more Super Bowls than any division in football. So your first job, other than talking about getting to the Super Bowl, is to win this division. And everything else sets up itself. Listen what he said about winning the division. The focus it takes about how your goals should be set.
Win your home games, win your division, beat those guys, and then you can take care of the rest of the league. Then it was Green Bay. Then it was the 49ers. Beat those. I'm thinking, win the division. Yeah. And so I went out and started building my team opposite of what to stop you.
Yeah.
And Jimmy said, well, I had to start by trying to stop you first.
Right.
And so I'm thinking, win the division. Yeah. Who is the top dog in your division?
Right.
Win your home games, win your division, beat those guys, and then you can take care of the rest of the league. Then it was Green Bay. Then it was the 49ers. Beat those that you face.
we're hearing Dak, and I understand why Dak says this, and I understand why Shoddy says it. It's kind of a Super Bowl or bust mentality. But you just talked about a plan where win the division, then work from there. Is that always that's how you won 3 Super Bowls? It's not. It's talking about the Super Bowl, but deep down inside, when you're talking about winning the division, you're talking about winning the Super Bowl ultimately, right?
No, I'm talking about winning the division.
You're talking about winning the division. Are you okay then with and it's okay? I mean, people roll their eyes.
See this is what you see what Brian and this is not no this is not no diss to Brian because I don't want nobody to say I'm dissing anybody. But Brian is he's this question and how he's trying to lead this question is basically how it's the same type of questioning we're gonna get when we get down to Oxnard where we have the opening press conference. This is the type of questioning that our Cowboy Nation and our Cowboy media leads us into putting the cart before the horse. Again, very few teams. You probably can listen, man. You probably can name on your hand how many wild card teams have won a championship. Going from the wild card, you already got to go. You got to play all your games on the road. You have no type of advantage, and you're probably going to be playing the better teams in your division. Nate Newton had to stop him here. No, win your division. You can't think about nothing else before you start doing that first. Win your home games, win your division games, win your division, and then that will set you up to play the rest of the league. At home, and probably put you in a situation where you may have some home field advantage. And look how Nate looks at him when he's trying to say, well, you win the division, that means you're ultimately talking about winning the Super Bowl. I don't like Troy Aikman talking about, I don't like Dak Prescott talking about Super Bowl or bust. No. Get back to winning this division that you lost last year for the last 2 years. That's going to guarantee you in the playoffs. Then worry about having the best record. Set yourself up to be able to compete at a high level with some advantages in the playoffs. This is team building 101. Team building 101, you don't ever start, every year you start on a new team. Nobody starts off building it, talking about the roof. When you see somebody build a house, do they have the roof guys out there the first day? Do they have the roof guys out there in the middle of the first week? You got to be a foundation. Then you got to start coming up from that foundation, some walls. You got to lay the groundwork in there, the piping and the electrical and all that. By the time you put the top on, you might put the boards up there, but by the time you start putting the roof on there, this thing is about complete. That's why Nate Newton is looking at him in this manner. Because again, we're trying to push it farther. And Nate has to hone this in again. Listen to what he says.
Eyes. People roll their eyes. Oh, Dak again. Shoddy, okay. But I'm with you. I'm with you on win the division. Find a way to win as many games as you can to get yourself in a position so when Green Bay beats San Francisco, you have the NFC Championship game in Dallas and not in San Francisco.
This is the bottom line. And I say this with all sincerity. I've been a Cowboy fan since I was 10 or 11 years old.
That's true.
More than some of you young folks out there, even older folks, have been born. I was privy to 20 straight winning seasons.
I'm with you on that.
I thought I was a curse. When I came to the Cowboys, we started losing. I thought.
Say that again, Nate. I've been a Cowboy fan probably as long as Nate been a Cowboy fan. Listen, when I say this to people, they act like, let me say this again about the Cowboys. And if you're a Cowboy, if you're in the chat and you're a Cowboy fan, I'm going to say something that you should know if you're a Cowboy fan. This is something you should know if you're a Cowboy fan. So when people start talking to you about what you hadn't won in 30 years, this is your counter. Let me give you a counteract if you hadn't been around long enough. And they talk about 20 straight winning seasons. The Cowboys only been around since 1960. If you go from 1960 to now, you're talking about, what, 66 years. And from 1960, for the first 5 or 6 years, for the first 2 or 3 years, we didn't win a game. We were the doormat. But for a 20-year stretch, we had winning seasons, and we were, I don't know how many division titles. I don't know how many games we played championship games. That we still rank in the top 5 in playoff victories. And some teams been around since 1940, like the Eagles in the 30s. And we still got more playoff victories than they got. And we got more Super Bowl victories than they got. And we got more division wins and division titles than they got. That's how dominant we were. So if we took a break for 30 years and we still ranking at the top, almost at the top, that shows how dominant we were in less time than everybody else. But they can attack you and they make you feel bad about it 30 years because you don't know your history. See, some people attack you and try to make you feel bad and belittle you and get you feeling bad about yourself and turn on your own players like some of us turn on Dak Prescott. And we start turning on our own players because we don't even know our own history. Watch what Nate Nuke says how long and then he's going to break down why he said about winning the division. Because it's always been our success story.
And I was the curse. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna curse my Cowboys. But when Coach Johnson got there, everybody was talking Super Bowl. He said, man, when he talked to his player, we're gonna win the division.
Right.
We're gonna win some home games.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna win the division.
Right.
And once we win the division, then we'll dictate. And I remember we was playing New York and we needed to win that game.
That game at the Meadowlands.
And Jimmy told us, he said, fellas, this is what we have been working for.
Yeah.
We win most of our.
I need y'all in the chat. I'm sorry for stopping it, but hey, I want y'all in the chat. I need y'all interaction in the chat. I wanted all the people who saw my show a couple of days ago when I kept talking about winning the division. Winning the division. I had never seen this. Look here. I just went and saw this article, this show today. But I talked about this 2 or 3 days ago about winning the division. First, I talked about our goal setting, expectations. In my show, I talked about expectations. I did that expectations show. I think that was before Nate even did his show. I talked about winning the division, being a division winner. I said and I talked about the history of this division, and we only had Philadelphia has been the first team to win back-to-back division titles in the last 20 years. That is the plan first. I don't even want to say damn Super Bowl, but I am. Win your division. Put yourself in position to dominate that. And I guarantee you, you'll get to the outcome you want.
He walked us right through it.
Yeah.
We win most of our home games.
Yeah.
Now we have a chance to win the division, to have everybody come through us. This is what we've been working for. Give your team true hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. It sounds good, but right now, I got the Cowboys. If they can win most of their home games, and have a shot at winning the division,
right,
it's a successful year to Nate.
To Nate, yeah,
yes,
yeah. Let me ask you. You brought something up. There's the game you brought up where you had to have it at the Meadowlands. There, the Giant defense did a great job getting after the Giants that day. How banged up was Emmett in the huddle when they just kept him with his shoulder? Did you guys know it? Did you guys?
Yeah, that was a tough game by Emmett. He in the fortitude that he showed going into something. But again, man, winning the division, man, giving your team small goals. This is where you put this building together, people. This is how you build this building. You build this building with brick and mortar, man. You put this thing together. And that's what I'll be talking about my team about building this division, winning our first division game. All that stuff we talk about, the Super Bowl and all that stuff, it'll take care of yourself if you do the things you need to do early. But it ain't gonna take care of itself if you can't win the division. None of that's gonna take care of itself if you can't win the division. Real talk, man. I told y'all this. I told you you're gonna get it, and you're gonna get confirmation from people that's gonna talk about something saying this a lot nobody's talking about this. None of my captain and I'm not talking about, but nobody's talking about this because we talk about stuff that foundational pieces. Now, it might not be the popular thing, but I guarantee you this. We're gonna come back the street again. A lot of things I've talked about this offseason, we're gonna come down that street again. And we come down that streets. I'm gonna say it, but I understand what it takes to football teams. And a lot of our people know it, but we get so caught up in the glitz and glam. But listen what he says in this part.
Right on to the Super Bowl.
First down. I got one more picture, and then again, I want to ask you some questions about this current team. Here we go. This is the picture I have for you. Showing our audience, that's a picture. When you see that, what do you think?
Unity, bro. Togetherness. One accord. Listening to our main man, Troy, break down these plays. Yes, sir. That right there, that's a bond that couldn't be broke right there. That was our guys. That's who we were about. That was our team, man. That was our team.
That right there, when you look at overall the players in that huddle.
Yeah.
More than brothers, right?
Yeah.
Like lifelong, like guys that all the battles and things that you guys went through to get to that point.
Oh, yeah.
You guys were rare, man. You guys were a rare football team. For all the fun that you guys had, and we could do a whole show about all the fun you had. But right there, man, that right there right there has to mean so much to you.
Nobody judged nobody. When we hit that field, it was all of one accord. We only thought one thing, and we always believed that those 71, 61, 53, 66, 79, if we did our job, 80, 88, 84, 22, 8, 48, we just believed in our hearts that these dudes was going to make something big happen. Yeah. Yes. The others, like Shaq like to say, those others was us 5 up front. Yeah. And we just let the superstars ride. Yeah.
There'll never be another team like that, right? I mean,
yes, it will. Yeah,
I know.
I gotta believe.
Just competing against you guys, I can't believe that. And I'm like you. I was a Cowboy fan. Watched
competing. He talks about competing. Competing is so important in these days. A lot of teams, a lot of players don't know how to compete anymore, man. Competing is so important, man, in these days and times. And a lot of guys don't know how to compete anymore. Compete is a word that a lot of guys don't even like to use anymore. And that's the competition level. We want to team up. You know something? Let me say something about that picture. Let me say something about that picture. Let me go back and I'm going to put that picture on the screen.
Lead in our hearts that these dudes.
I'm going to stop it right there. Tell me if you can see the picture on the screen. That's the picture that Brian Brothers showed Emmitt Smith. showed Nate New. Put a thumb in the chat if you see the picture. I think I shared that part with the pictures in the screen. That picture right there is the offense of the Dallas Cowboys. Now he didn't picture the defense, and that's probably the defense of that year, probably the number one defense in the league. But all the guys that made the Pro Bowl came from this offense. But let me give you some updates on some of these guys when we talk about guys that need to be all pros and guys that we discredit that maybe on this team that might not be good. Alvin Harper came out of Tennessee. I think he was like a third, fourth round draft pick, a third or second round draft pick. Jay Novacek was picked up in a Plan B free agent. He was drafted by the Cardinals, and he was let go by the Cardinals as a Plan B at that time, Plan B free agent. We have a couple of guys that came on the lesser version of the free agency. That was the low end of free agency when guys can come because they were just like guys that was cut like practice squad guys or guys that we see now that was low draft picks and you had to let them go. Now they're using stuff like they tender you now. But then they did tender you to let guys go. Playing brief free agent, not a big time free agent. Jay Novacek. We talk about Moose Johnson coming out of Syracuse. Well, of course, we know Michael Irvin, who he was in Miami. We talk about number 79, Eric Williams, coming out of Central State, an NIA black college. Didn't start his first year, but started the second year and going on. But was he much heralded? He was the first round pick? Okay, by the Cowboys? What year was he drafted in the first round by the Cowboys? I want you to check that out. What year was he drafted in the first round by the Cowboys? He wasn't drafted by Jimmy Johnson in the first round of the Cowboys. And I don't think he was there with he wasn't there with back at Tom Landry. Jimmy Johnson's first round draft picks was Emmitt Smith, I believe Troy Aikman, I believe I can believe that Troy Aikman was Jimmy Johnson's first round pick. Because I think Michael Irvin came on the last of Tom Landry years. I think 1 year. Jimmy Johnson first round picks was, I don't know if they had two, but I know Russell Maryland was one. I know Troy Aikman was one. I know Emmitt Smith was one. I have to check on that one. I don't think Alvin Harper was the first round draft pick. The year after Emmitt Smith, the year after Emmitt Smith was drafted, we won the Super Bowl the second year Emmitt Smith, the third year Emmitt Smith. I have to check on that one, man. I really have to check on that. Alvin Harper being the first round pick. Listen. I can almost guarantee you. I know good well that they drafted first round wide receiver and Michael Irvin was on that team. I can tell you that right now. Need to check on that one. After Harper was not a first round draft pick. I guarantee you that they drafted another first round draft pick with Michael Irvin there. 91, 12th pick. And the 12th pick of the draft. Alvin Harper was the 12th pick of the draft. Let me pull up. Let me take a look at that before we keep on going. That's shocking to me that they drafted a first. What year was Alvin Harper drafted and where? Alvin Harper was drafted in the 4th round, the 121st pick. That might not be the right one. The Cowboys, okay. The Cowboys wide receiver Alvin Harper, when was he drafted? This crazy chat GPT. You're right, the 12th overall pick. What's that? So that must be. Oh, I know that's what that came on. That pick came with one of the trades with that second pick of the trades that came. That was the same pick of who else was drafted in that draft? Who else was drafted in that draft? Y'all can tell me who else was drafted in that draft? Dallas first round draft picks in 1991. Yeah. That came with, see, I was mistaken. That came with Russell Maryland. That came with the trade that we got, and we got another first round pick after we drafted Russell Maryland. We had the first pick of the draft in that year. That was that came off. That was another pick that came in, and we drafted Russell Maryland in the first pick, and then the 12th pick we picked up Alvin Harper. So we got that straight now. Alvin Harper was drafted in the first round, but never panned out to be a big time receiver in Alvin Harper. Alvin Harper was a great compliment to his size and his speed was what the compliment of him. What do y'all know about Tourné? Marv Tourné came to Dallas, and Marv Tourné was at Dallas, but Marv Tourné started his career playing defensive line. And they moved him, Hudson Hawk moved him from defensive line to left tackle. You imagine that? Marv Tourné going from defensive line to left tackle and being a very good left tackle. Not an all-world left tackle. Nobody would say Tourné was the best left tackle in the history of sports. He was not ranked as one of the best left tackles in football and one of the top left tackles, but not one of the greatest left tackles in football. But he was very good at his job. Like I keep trying to tell y'all, you don't need a guy to be an all-pro. You just need a guy to be pretty good. Nate's going to talk about that in this next segment. And then you look at Nate Newton. Nate Newton was drafted by I think the Washington team, and then he was cut. And then they picked him up as a free agent pickup after he was cut by the Washington team. So he wasn't drafted by the Cowboys. I think he was picked up by the Cowboys in Tom Landry days. So he was there when Jimmy Johnson got there. Stepnoski was a drafted player, but they said could they make Stepnoski a center, and Hudson Hawk said he can make him a center. Kevin Golden was a journeyman. Matter of fact, he started, then Larry Allen took over, but Kevin Golden eventually went on to the Raiders. Very nasty guy, but they got the best out of him. This is what the Great Wall was made out of. But this offensive line was great, but it was never, they played well together. These guys got a lot of claim in being all world after they start playing well. But this offense was guys that was put together, and you had some stars in there, but you had some guys that made their names. Thank y'all so much in the chat for getting that. I missed that, but I remember the Russell Maryland pick. And the reason why I probably missed out on Alvin Harper never panned out to be a true number one wide receiver. And guess what? A number one draft pick. But that speaks of what Jimmy Johnson, that speaks of how the Cowboys was been run back then. They could draft a guy in the first round, but they let him do his role. There was no pressure on the guy to say, oh, he's a first round draft pick. He needs to be the star. No, he needs to fit his role. And he fit a very good role beside Michael Irvin, and he was a very big play wide receiver. But do y'all remember this about Alvin Harper? When his contract ran out, the Cowboys didn't re-sign him because the salary cap year came in. The Cowboys did not re-sign Alvin Harper when his contract ran out. And at the end, I think he may have signed one of the contract with him, but at the end of his career, he went to I think he went to Tampa Bay to be the number one wide receiver, and it never did pan out. But he was great at his role in Dallas. And that's why I say something about some other guys. They might be great in a role, but their role may not pan out if you put them in another role somewhere else where they have more responsibility. And I don't think a lot of y'all heard me when I said that. Sometimes guys don't do well when they got more responsibility. I.e., George Pickens, he had a number one role in Pittsburgh. It didn't pan out. He might fit his role as a number two better here, and he might ball out in that role.
Have a third down and just getting off the field. Sure. I ain't talking about interceptions. I ain't talking about a fumble. I'm talking about if it's 3rd and 1 from our defense.
He's talking about somebody defense.
Like Jimmy told us, from the day we open up training camp to the last snap of the season, I need to see improvement. I need to see from our defense is by the end of the year, can you be in the top 5 of something? This is simple. Can you be in the top 5 of 3rd down and just getting off the field? Sure. I ain't talking about interceptions. I ain't talking about a fumble. I'm talking about if it's 3rd and 1, can you win that? If it's 3rd and 12, can you win that? I'm talking about just doing your basic job. If you are over the center in a zero technique, can you push that center back and allow your linebackers to come downhill and make a play? Can you get enough pass rush to make that quarterback throw off time? Just get off the field. If what we keep comparing these Cowboys to, and I'm talking about media, I'm talking about fans, is we keep comparing these guys to what Seattle. We're not Seattle. Sure. We're not the Rams. We're not these guys. We are a team that is Let
me explain what Nate is saying here, and we got to understand this. He's talking about what he wants to see from his defense for toughness. Getting off 3rd down, being tough on 1st down, and getting off the field on 3rd down is what we call toughness. Sacrificing for each other, not worried about if I'm going to get the sack, worried about if I'm going to do the things that's needed to do for the next guy to get the play done. And in the past, I think we got guys worried about their own stats and not worried about if we get the play done. One thing I used to love about Charles Haley, and everybody used to tell you about this about Charles Haley. Charles Haley would run a stunt and run dead into the guard and blow the guard up and get double teamed and get knocked on his ass just for Russell Maryland or Tony Casillas or Leon Lett to come on the loop and get the sack. He would sacrifice himself diving inside to jam a hole so Darren Smith or the safety could come up and bust the play up in the backfield. That's sacrificing him making a big play, but us making a play. This is where when I say continuity as a defense, this is what you learn in training camp. Who is willing to sacrifice for the next guy for the greater good of the total unit? Let me say that again. Some of y'all don't understand what that means. Take this into your business world. If you got a business world, take this phrase I'm about to tell you into your business world. Take this what I'm about to say to you, take this in your family life. When a defense is playing well, they're saying, who is willing to sacrifice for the next guy to make a play for the overall good of the total group? Or is everybody out there playing for them to make the play? And nobody makes the play. And we all fail. Let's say that again. Or is everybody out there playing for them to make the play? Then nobody makes the play, and we all fail. This is what Nate's saying about toughness on third down. Just get better at that. And when he said that we're not Seattle, and I know I made reference about Seattle and their pass rush and how they create pressure and talk about where if they did it, we could do it. We're not that, but we must carry the mentality. See, you might not have the same players, and you may have better players, but you got to carry the mentality of team that they carried. Let's see where we at now. Okay. We're going to talk about a little offensive line play in a minute.
They've handed you that Lombardi trophy 3 times.
Yes.
And I'm not
Oski and Kevin Gogan. Yeah. I remember one time we were sitting in St. Edwards and Coach Wise looked at us. And he, for some reason, he just, you know what? I'm
potentially with this offensive line.
The interior line has to be the strength.
Hold on.
And I'm not asking you to say they compare, but
hold on. We're about to talk about something here that's near and dear to my heart. And I have said this on many of our live stream shows and said this, me and my cohorts that I've been on their shows and talked, and we have talked in the past, and I have done it recently. But I will say it again, and I'll say it 1,000 times. The most important offensive lineman on your team is your center guard. And I don't think Nate Newton is saying this because he's a guard. If your center and your guard, I've said this 1,000 times, and this is a natural truth. Those who win the middle of the field have the advantage to win the game. That's in every sport. You control the paint. In basketball, control the rebounding, control the paint points. Yeah, we can talk about all these 3-point shooters, but the team that usually control the paint, the rebounding, and the inside that can paint win the game. In baseball, if you're good up the middle, good shortstop and second baseman could cut down, turn double plays, make sure they cut the gap, bases going in the hole, as well as your pitcher who's in the middle of the field and your catcher. He got to be able to run the game. Center fielder, if he can get from gap to gap, he can cut down doubles, and he can save you a lot of runs in there. If you're strong up the middle, that's why your safeties are so important. That's why your nose guard and your tackles are so important. We talk about the guys on the outside. They only make a living because they are strong in the middle. If your middle is weak, Your outside guys will be no factor. I'm going to say that again. If your middle is weak, they are non-factor. Lawrence Taylor was strong because of the Jim Burks and the number 70s that was in that middle. Richard Dent was strong because of the Dan Hamptons and the William Perrys in the middle. The Cowboys, Harvey Martin and Too Tall Jones was gassed because of the Jim Hageman and the Jutton and Randy Whites in the middle. Give me any guy on the outside, and if he got soft guys in the middle, he's not going to be dominant. Strong up the middle. And Nate is about to talk about, if I've said this 1,000 times, give me an A+ guard, A+ center, A+ another guard. I can take two C+ B guys at tackle and make you think we got a Hall of Fame offensive line. But I can put two A+ tackles out there and put me two and get a C center and a two C guards, and they will make our offensive line look horrible. Because the greatest pressure that a quarterback don't want, and what helps an offensive tackle when you talk about rushing around the end, is the ability for the quarterback to step up and kill the angle. Because if he steps up a little bit, the angle is killed. Now the tackle is back in position. Watch what Nate Duke says about what the great offensive line coach told him about the middle of this offensive line and how important the offensive line was to the success of even the receivers. Listen, please. I have said this before. This is confirmation of what I've been talking about for years.
But give me something to hang my hat on potentially with this offensive line.
Your interior line has to be the strength of your team. Nate Newton, Stepnoski, and Kevin Gogan. Yeah. I remember one time we were sitting in St. Edwards, and Coach Wise looked at us. And he, for some reason, he just, you know what, I understand the tackles. He said, but Nate, I can't have you messing up. Kevin, I need for you to be big nasty all the time. He knew Step was going to do his job.
Right.
He said, we are the saving grace of this team.
Yeah.
So these two guards that the Dallas Cowboys have, and this center has to be the saving grace. They have to be the saving grace, because if the middle of your offense is strong, that means when these tackles are losing leverage, be it inside or outside, your quarterback can step up into the alleys, or he can feel comfortable stepping into a throw and not getting hit.
Say it again.
If we're going to be good, the two guards and the center, it's going to have to be excellent this year.
I've been saying this.
They say it's a battle between Nate Thomas and Guyton.
Hold up before we get to Nate Thomas and Guyton. Only thing I'm asking Nate Thomas and Guyton and Terrence Steele, just don't get beat inside and run people around the corner. Don't worry about if they're gonna beat you around the corner and the court and Dak Prescott is gonna be retreating. Because those three guys up there gonna make sure that he can always step up. Just dance, baby. Don't let nobody beat you inside. Don't let them blow you over top. Make them run the bend. When your quarterback step up, they got to come back to you. We're going to make your job easy. The hard job is those three guys up in the front. See, we always talk about the left tackle. Oh, you the left tackle. That's the most overstated thing that's ever been in football. I told y'all about the left tackle. I said, yes, that was back in the day when everybody was in a center position and everybody was coming from under center and everybody was doing drop back passes. They were right-handed and they were doing 7-step drops coming from the center. Yes, it was a true blind spot. 90% of the players now come out of the shotgun when they're already looking at the blind spot already. They can see him. And then when they run play action pass, the play action pass blocking is enough to hold the guy anyway, because the blocking is aggressive. Now they're paying right tackle just as much as they're paying left tackle. Now they're starting to pay guards and centers just as much as they're paying tackles, because they understand. It may be a little different because the NFL wants you to be that way. The NFL, yeah, they want to have a step system about their pay. They don't want to pay everybody. They don't want to pay all the linemen the same. That'll kill their salary cap. So they're pumping out there about, the tackles are more important than the guard. You got a coach for the Cowboys that's telling people, his team, that y'all the cornerstones. And guess what? All these offensive line coaches know this. But the NFL is a brand. And they're going to promote what they want, the narratives they want, so they can set up the structure that they want. But watch what he says about these tackles now.
Guyton.
Do you believe that?
No, I don't.
I'm with you.
This is the deal. Guyton competition is against himself.
Sure.
That's right.
Injuries.
Yeah.
Injuries.
Can you get through training camp?
What I say, man?
Can you? Because once you get injured, once you go down, Guyton, the job becomes Nate Thomas.
Sure.
That's right.
Now, if you give it back to Guyton, well, what are we doing here? We playing musical chairs, and now you're going to hurt your quarterback.
Right.
The right tackle is who he is. He's just a battler.
He's a battler.
He's going to fight. He's this much above average. I love this kid.
Yeah.
You love this kid.
Oh, we all,
But he's just a little bit above average. And he's a battler. Yeah. He's going to fight you. If you do enough running, he becomes way above average. If you run the ball enough, now he's secure enough in his pass blocking because he's beat you up enough to be confident. But on that left.
Say it again. What he said about Terrence Steele. Terrence Steele is an outstanding run blocker. And every time that we have a physical, what did I say about a physical presence yesterday in my commentary when I talked about the running back situation? I said we have to have a physical presence, a physical component, a balance to our offense. I said that on Twitter when we were talking about the backup running back. This sets up because our offensive line is a physical offensive line. This is the same thing I saw in Doug Free. Doug Free was just can you hear me? Can y'all hear me now? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me now. Can y'all hear me in my mic? 1 2 1 2. One, two, 1 2. Please give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay. The same thing I said, thank you, sir. But thank you for letting me know that. The same thing I was saying all the time when I was saying about Doug Free, about our offensive line. The physical presence of our offensive line and being more of a play action of offensive line is the perfect pass blocking for us. If we became a play action pass of offensive line and a play action pass team on a majority of the basis because we got a very good physical presence of running the ball, Troy Aikman Dak Prescott probably wouldn't get sacked more about 6 times a game, 6 times a year. And he'll be able to throw the ball anywhere he wants, and he'll have all the day for guys to run double moves, triple moves, quadruple moves. If we base it off play action pass, because we got a physical presence to our offense. Just like he just said, if you run the ball enough with Terrence Steele, he gets lathered up by going at and battling in the run game. Oh, he can block. And do you run hard play action pass? I ain't worried about nobody ever touching the quarterback with Terrence Steele. But if you go out there and say, I want you to go back here and we're going to play dancing bear for 50 passes and we're going to forget about running the football, you put him in a vulnerable situation that you're making a pass block, and he's going to lose a couple of battles. This goes back to what I'm always saying about you have to put your players in the best position for them to be successful. We're not asking Terrence Steele to be a Hall of Famer. Doug Free was a Hall of Famer. If you want to be knowledgeable about it, Mark Tuiday wasn't a Hall of Famer. Mark Tuiday was a left tackle that came in from the defense, but he was tough. Mark Tuiday will battle you too. So we got to understand instead of us going and tearing our guys down, let's think about what makes them better and let's get on to say, hey man, let's do what makes them better. But no, we'll tear them down, talking about get rid of them. But when I watch Terrence Steele on film, when we're running the ball, when we go play action pass or we go drop back pass, he dominates. Because he's a mauler. He wants to beat people up. And Nate knows the same thing too. But if you put him in a situation where you're asking him to go out there and dance around for 40 plays, well, you're going to get a little bit above average. But if you put him in the right situation, you'll get way above average. And let's go back and listen to what he said again, because I don't think y'all heard what he said there.
Side, we don't know what we're getting.
Right.
And we need some consistency over there. So battler, he's going to fight you. If you do enough running, he becomes way above average. If you run the ball enough, now he's secure enough in his pass blocking because he's beat you up enough to be confident. But on that left side, we don't know what we're getting.
Right.
And we need some consistency over there so Coach Schottenheimer and his other guys can put together a game plan. Brothers, let me say this right quick. Like, my biggest fear was if George Pickens wasn't there.
Right.
Now you have only CeeDee Lamb. Now our quarterback walks up and don't have a one read. Now he has two reads. Now it makes the defense have to pick. Now that gives us an extra second on the offensive line, a split second more. Right. If one of these guys leave, I'm talking about CeeDee or George, now that puts all the pressure on your tackles because they're going to bring an extra up and they're going to make you be correct in your blocking. If you make a mistake or if they physically beat you, now we lose our quarterback for the year. That's how important our two wide receivers is. That's how important our running game will be.
Can you run the ball as well as you did last year? And I ask you this too because I'm thinking about Steele at right tackle, and he was playing next to Zach Martin for all those years. And how big of an adjustment? A, can you run the ball like you thought you did last year? B, talk about how he's having to adjust to playing next to Tyler Booker after all those years of playing next to Zach Martin.
Brother, a lot of times, depending on what it is, Zach was going to walk you through practice. Super Bowl was won.
Yeah.
So you can win with Steele because he's relentless, but you have to run the ball enough and have a guard that understands him and he believes in because it gives him confidence. He could feed off of Zach. Like we fed off of Eric. We fed off of Larry Allen. Like the 49ers got that big left tackle who's 100 years old.
Williams. Yeah.
They feed off of him.
Right.
They're a different team when he's there. So that is what Booker has to be. Booker has to go to another level. Tyler, the other Smith, he's got to go to, and our center, they have to go to another. You have to. It ain't no thinking about it. You have to go to another level.
Yeah. Defense, offensive line, you get those playing at a high level.
And you got, look here, brother. And you got the world champions.
Yeah.
I'm talking about last year.
Yeah, Seattle.
They put together an offense and a defensive line.
Yeah.
And I have nothing against Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Son, you won a Super Bowl. So did Trent Dilfer.
Yeah.
These were not well-known, talked about quarterbacks.
Sure.
But when you have an offensive line and you have a running game, and you have a Jigma, whatever his name, I call him a magician.
Yeah.
As a receiver, come on, man. All you got to do is put the ball in the right place. And that's what the Cowboys have to get. That's what we have not had together in the last 20 years is a better than average offensive line while we had a better than average defensive line. We have not had that together.
Right.
And when you don't have that together, when you get to the final 6 teams, you get exposed.
You do.
And we've gotten exposed.
Man, what a great, wow. What a great interview. I'll say it again. I'm gonna go again. Crown Global Media, they have done a great job of putting stuff together, man. These guys are doing a great job. This is a great thing. It was a confirmation of a lot of things I have already said. And we're gonna just recap because some of the things I said that that's important. I think sometimes it get lost in the sauce. Because we lose a lot of stuff in the sauce because of the fact we don't because it's not the talking points. But Nate touched on something at the end about the offensive line and defensive line carrying this team. And I think what we're dependent on, and which we should, is the strength of our 2 guards and our 2 centers, and our 2 guards and centers. And we depended on the strength on our defensive line of Clark and Quentin Williams and the guy we got from the big bull we got from the Chargers and the guy we picked up from the Saints that are dominant. And we're gonna work and then we're gonna let the guys on the outside do their thing. But we're gonna apply pressure up the middle because that's gonna be the battle. It's gonna be a battle. I said the other day I said I wanted to see the outside linebackers and the defensive ends and the tight ends. Yes, I want to see that. But I also want to see this battle between these guards and these guys we got coming up to play these defensive tackles. I want to see that they get iron sharpen iron. Because the middle is going to be the key. I'm excited about this team. Because I think we got some smarter players. I think that's going to be pushed for us to be smarter. I think we're a little bit more athletic. But this is about using your players in the right way. I've been saying the same thing about Steele all the time. You run the ball enough for Steele, and Steele will be one of your best tackles in this league. But if you put him in the, and I think Tyler Guyton will be a better tackle if you run the ball more. I think Nate would be a good number 71 would be a better tackle if you ran the ball more. I'm not asking you to run the ball again and be just hand the ball off, but I'll ask you to run the ball 30 times a game. Yes. I don't want to see a game that we go in and we got the running back ain't got but 8, 9, 10 carries. Because you ain't got your offensive line even lathered up or the big back Williams in a rhythm yet in 5, 6 carries. I don't want to see you go in the game where you got Dak Prescott in the first half, he threw the ball 35 times. And I'm telling that to Dak Prescott. We got to understand that the essence of physicality is going to make his game easier and not get assumed and say, oh man, we just went down, we threw the ball 4 times and we scored. Okay, we just continue to keep on doing that. Can't fall into that trap. So this is what I say when he talk about that. When he talk about winning the division, that should be our main focus. Not asking questions about the Super Bowl. Yeah, at the press conference on the other day, tomorrow, or a couple of days from now, they're gonna ask you all about the Super Bowl. So yes, that's all our goal. But I bet our first goal is to be a better football team than we were last year. And I know some of y'all gonna be like, oh, well, that's all they talk about is being a better football team than last year. Man, this is what see that we ain't been there. And see, we like to bring up how long we ain't been there. Like that really counts right now. No, we got to be a better football team. We was better than last year. We got to get back to the claim of winning our division first, not losing no home games, winning our division, and winning all our division games. Guess where that puts us already? Just that small thing. That puts us at almost 10 victories there. 10, 11 victories there. We got 9 games that we play on the road, maybe 10 because we maybe lose a road game because we're going overseas. That's how we have to look at it, Cowboy Nation. And we should be excited because when we run the ball 30 times, listen, I ain't say with the same back. You're right. Maybe 2 or 3 backs. But we got to get 30 passes. 30, and the play action pass will be the best in the game. Listen, this is a statement. I'm going to start putting some of y'all comments up here. Great comment. Goes along with what I said. Steve Rush, great comment. 30 runs per game and play action pass will get the best out of this offense. You know how many, listen, do y'all understand that Tom Brady was a play action passer? Do y'all understand that most of the passes that Patrick Mahomes throws come off a play action pass? Do you understand the play action pass? When people say play action pass, people think that's a nonsense pass. They get like, play action pass. Don't you know most of your passes have some form of, and you got hard play action and then you got play action. Now let's learn what hard play action is. Hard play action is usually when you come from under center and you run it just like run action. You come out, you stick the ball in the belly of the running back. The blocking usually is they fire out 1-2 steps like they run action, and then you bring it out, and now you play action pass. Then you got what we call not hard play action, when you just fake the ball to the running back, but they already set up in pass block. Hard play action, you can get your biggest plays in hard play action. But the only way hard play action works is you have to be 2 things you got to be. One, you got to be committed to running the football. The defense got to have an idea that you will run the football. 2, you got to be consistent. You got to be efficient in running the ball. The worst thing a defensive coordinator wants to do is when you play a team and it's 3rd down and 5, and they say, "Yeah, we can run the ball and get 5 yards on 3rd down and 5." When you're a defensive coordinator and you playing against a team that can run the ball and get 5 yards on 3rd down, man, you know how hard that is for you to call defensive plays. Do you know what type of strain you puts on the defensive coordinator? You got to almost change your personnel. You can't go nickel because they can stay out there with the same personnel, and you can't go nickel. And you think again. And then when you play action pass off of it, it puts you in a position. So a lot of these things that were said in here, I'm glad I wasn't planning on going live today. I was planning on, and I say this again, please, and I let me go ahead and put this on the screen because we got some great content today, and I want you to like, and subscribe. But I also need the people that's in the chat and watching this. I need something else. I need to help. I need to help with the super chats as well as if you can send support. So we got build some more platform things as this season come along, so we can get some better views and get some better stuff out here with this technology, so I can give y'all even more with this. And if you're supporting the channel, man, please support the channel, man. The Cash App is on the screen. If it's $1, $2, $3, $4, if you feel that you want this, join the membership. Join the membership on the other side, on the YouTube side. Go and join that membership, and you can support the channel once a month. But if you want to Cash App something directly, that doesn't have to go through the YouTube channels. You can directly Cash App at the PBS, and man, we can get stuff that can try to get prepared for this upcoming season. I'm trying to give you as much content as I can give you, and I'm trying to teach football as much as I can teach. It's great that I can get to go to that Nate Newton show. A lot of people been doing the Will McClay interview, and I started watching that. There's some things I want to say about what Will McClay was talking about, but I loved the essence of what Nate Newton was talking about because I didn't even see his video. And if you look at some of my videos in my video log, I've been talking about this for the longest. And it's confirmation when you have guys of that guilt that come back and say the same thing. But a lot of people are not going to listen to these things because a lot of the stuff he talked about that we kind of glaze over. But winning the division, being a physical presence, helping our team out, defense having goals, getting better, being a smart team, getting the unity to this team that we're going to need, and putting the work in training camp at a rate that's going to make us better and get us ready for the season. All those were touched in this great interview, and we are going to continue to talk about that on Coach Marv Real Talk. I want to tell you, man, again, it's been 2 hours. I didn't expect to be on here that long. But thank you again for your support. Thank you for coming in and my people in my chat. Thank you for coming in and giving your support and all your stuff that you're putting out there, all the stuff even the people that I saw that came in here late. Thank you for your support and all the stuff y'all was putting in here. Thank you for correcting me on Alvin Harmon and telling me Alvin Harmon was a first-round draft pick. I forgot about it, but Alvin Harmon being the first-round draft. Thank you, Uncle Charles, for coming in, man. I hope everything is doing well with your family, man. Prayers are still going out for you and your family. Thank you for all y'all done. Please support the channel by super chats. Didn't see any super chats, but stickers. If you want to join the channel membership, but also please, if whatever you can send some of the Cash App, that would be great to support the channel to keep the stuff going, so we can try to get some more cameras, some more stuff, more earphones, more. I want to get a stand-up mic and these things so we can be better present ourselves to you. As I always say, nothing and no one as you go into the Sunday can just stop God's will. That has nothing to do with football. That's life. Nothing or no one can stop God's will. And make sure you have a discerning spirit into you. Make sure you discern the spirit. That means pray and think and meditate on all things. And I guarantee you do that and you get the relationship and you really listen to the answers of your prayer and your meditation, you won't go wrong. You'll be led in the right direction. I thank y'all for your support. I thank y'all for listening. I hope you learned something. Please share this video and tell them about, hey, tell them Coach is cooking. Tell them that this interview breakdown, we're going to do more stuff like that. I hope that Crown Media, that I'm putting it out, that Crown Media, I should have put it into the link. I didn't. But Crown Media, Gone Global Media, made this video that we went with Brian Brothers and Nate Newton. Go check that channel out. Push on that so you can get the full version of the Nate interview, the Nate Newton interview 4 days ago. And then you can get all the rest of the media stuff that they have. Thank you for putting it out there. I just wanted to run a few stuff to talk about because it was great work by that group. Not by me, but by them. Until next time, people, have a wonderful rest of the Saturday night and a wonderful Sunday. Peace.